Hi, thanks so much for joining me on this video here while we talk about the Washington State spring bear hunting season and the current petition that is before the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife, the director, and the commission. So for those of you who are not real familiar with what has happened here in Washington, there's a lot of links and resource material in the video description down below, so you can jump in there and kind of get back into some of this stuff and really dive into the details of the whole thing. I'm just going to give kind of a quick overview of a couple of points, and I plan to do a few more of these in the future and just kind of dive into more and more about what's been going on over the last 2.5 years or so that brought us to the cancellation of Washington State spring bear hunting season, what's happened in between, and kind of where things are right now and where they're projected potentially to go in the not so distant future, hopefully. So let's begin. So the cancellation of Washington State spring bear hunting season. If you're in Washington, if you're a hunter, you know what was going on. You saw it happen. And a couple of points from all that was in November of 2022, the department staff had given a presentation to the commission about, hey, what are the estimates? What are the population estimates for black bears in the state of Washington? Keep in mind, November 2022, October, November-ish was when those meetings happened, when that science was presented to the commission. And at that time, the black bear population estimates for the state of Washington was approximately 16,600 black bears. Keep that in mind, that number is important. I say that to bring you up to this next sort of benchmark. It's become sort of an infamous quote that happened in late October of 2023. And again, down below, you can get the links to it. You can go to the archived TVW. TVW is where the government stores archival video footage of commission meetings. It's got a link. It'll take you in there. You can get a date and a timestamp. You can go to the exact quote. So it's not just me telling you a story. But that's when the famous quote from WDFW Commission Chair Barbara Baker was captured on audio and video, when she said to the effect, she said it. I might misspeak. She uses a lot of ums and ahs in her sentences. But it was, hey, we knew. We were told. We knew there were enough black bears to have a bear hunt in the spring. Well, that would have been 2022 is when they were told that information. And at that time, the black bear population in the state of Washington was estimated by the scientists, by the biologists, to be at approximately 16,600. Now, as some have continued to petition, request, talk about with the commission, hey, let's get the Washington State spring bear hunting season back. The science is there, the same needs are there, the same management needs that were there before, that have been there for decades, still exist. And one of the things that held up the commission from bringing back the black bear spring bear hunting season was, one of their excuses was, well, we're waiting on the science. There's this in-depth, multi-year black bear population study going on, and we're just going to wait and see what the science has to say. Well, hey, earlier this year, there was the completion of a 5-year, robust, multiple agencies were involved. The tribes were involved, DFW was involved, the feds were involved. It was very, very involved, and it was statewide, and they came out with a new black bear population study based off of these new scientific data gathering. It was a bear hair snare population study. And they were going into remote areas. They were helicoptering in, they were hiking in. It was not the kind of thing that old people, out of shape people were going to participate in. They were going to some rugged spots. And that wrapped up back in the spring, and they had to compile that data. Well, that data, the new 5-year study of, hey, what is the estimate on the black bear population in the state of Washington as of when that came out in October, was that there are approximately 22,000 black bears in the state of Washington. So now that time's gone by, we see this linear equation. November 2022, they're going to cancel the spring black bear hunting season. That whole thing about, sows and cubs are at risk. Bears are lethargic in the spring. They had a lot of excuses that have not stood up to time. But in November of 2022, hey, 16,600 black bears were estimated to be in Washington by the scientists who were doing the studies. Now, October 2024, they just completed the most robust, most intense, most detailed black bear population survey conducted probably since the mid-1960s. There was a 6-year study that happened between 63 and 69. But this most recent one, they came out with, hey, Washington State black bear population studies are estimated to be at 22,000. And you'll hear the staff now talk about how Washington has a very robust black bear population. So earlier this spring, a couple of, call them what they are in the opinion of some, I might even share that opinion. Some of the big national, I'll step back from that. There were some groups, let's just say there were some groups who wanted to have the commission reevaluate black bear season setting and cougar season setting. And they did most of the early work over this last year, 2024, to get to the presentations that happened in October and December of this year. And essentially, the commission listened to the science, listened to the information from the staff, the scientists, the biologists. Their recommendations were solid. They added, it's going to be moving forward, illegal to shoot sows with cubs. The commissioners could not agree on that during the discussions that led to the cancellation of the Washington State spring black bear hunting season. So it's nice to see they can agree on that now. And there's going to be a requirement for how many days you have to submit your biological samples after you harvest a black bear. But essentially, they left the seasons the same statewide. Now, don't take that as legal advice for, hey, Brad said I could go out and do what I want next year. No, you still got to read the reg book. But it was interesting to see that the commission could come together and not cancel or even decrease black bear hunting seasons based on the staff recommendations. What we had in 2022 was the commission would not follow the staff direction, because in 2022, the staff had recommended, hey, maintain the spring bear hunting season. That was their recommendation. They presented the science. They presented the reasons why. It was very well done. And the commission was like, no. And they went to a tie and it canceled the whole thing. And then a few months later, they had another vote and they canceled it moving forward. So that's where we wind up with is the bear population is very robust. The numbers are significantly more than they were in 2022 when they canceled it. So anyway, there's a lot going on. I'm going to have to break these things up into a series of videos, but I'm going to keep this one going for a couple more minutes because I think I can probably still get it uploaded. A couple of things in parallel. So last year, 2 years ago, it took 2 years to get it done, started in 2022. The commission revisited the black bear timber damage depredation permits program. And that followed a process where they had all the discussions, they had all the meetings, they talked about all the stuff, and then that process went into the CR 102. I say that to say this. Coming out of December, now, this month, the black bear general season rules are going to, they were agreed to by the staff and the commission, and that process is going to soon, probably sometime in the next 45 to 60 days, it'll move into the CR 102 process. I say that to bring you back to the black bear timber damage CR 102 process. What that process is that it opens it up to public comment. The risk always for the department and the commission is if you open up rulemaking, it's just that. It's open. And it's open. And the direction of it can get kind of squirrely. Well, in the black bear timber damage depredation permits program, some hunters, some bear hunters did actually participate in that process. And they did mention in their comments, hey, we want the spring bear hunting season back. In fact, this black bear timber damage depredation permits program, which is a program to kill black bears in the spring, they wanted public hunters to be involved in that process. And enough people brought it up that WDFW Commission Chair Barbara Baker actually addressed those comments in the CR 103. It was not enough to get the commission to change the black bear timber damage depredation permits program language to include public hunters in that, but it got their attention. And so I say that to say this. If you're in Washington, if you're a hunter, if you care about black bear hunting, when they open the CR 102 for the black bear general season rulemaking, which will happen in the next 45 to 60 days, It'd be nice if you'd throw in some comments about, hey, bring back the spring bear hunting season. In some future videos, I'll talk about some of the other reasons why the spring black bear hunting season should come back, and what got us here, and what it used to do, and what it can still do, and how they're shifting off and having other people still do the killing of the black bears in the spring, because bears still do get killed in the spring. It's just public hunters are not being allowed to do it. We'll talk about all that stuff in some future videos. With that, I'm going to kind of close this one out. My goal is to get off of this thing in 12 minutes or less. Hopefully, I still have your attention. It's been brought to my attention. It's been brought to my attention by some people who know things, that it'd be a darn good idea if I started going to commission meetings and speaking. And it would be a good idea for public hunters to start going to commission meetings and speaking during open public comment. That's the way the process works. That's the way the law works in Washington State, that the commission meetings, whatever the government agency is, if there's a commission for it, there's a process so that the public can participate, and that's something called open public comment. And people can go and they can sign up and they get an opportunity to talk before the commission. I'm going to start going to those. It's been brought to my attention I should go. A couple of people have encouraged me to go. I hope you go. I hope I see you at some meetings, and I hope to meet you. Say hello, and we can talk about bear hunting. Don't forget, down below in the video description, there's a bunch of resources down there and a bunch of links. And so you can find out who authored this stuff. You can find out where that stuff is that's hidden away on government websites, where they store away things like archived commission meetings and archived documents. But it'll get you into some of the stuff that we're talking about here today. Hey, thank you so much for watching this. And it's great to be involved. It's great to speak, whether it's calling in for a commission meeting or showing up at a commission meeting. If you got a couple of dollars, think about donating to one of the causes that helps out hunters here in Washington. And that might, there's so many of them. If I mention a couple of them, then I'm missing a few others. But please, get involved. Speak to the commission, write letters, give comments, do the howl actions, repurpose, reshare stuff from Blood Origins, whoever all it may be. Get involved. Donate a couple of bucks. Price of a cup of coffee. I think one of the big organizations asks if you can just share with them the price of a cup of coffee every month, and it would mean so much. Thank you so much for watching this. My name is Brad, and I hope to see you on the next video. Have a great day.